Tales from the Terran Republic. John gets a briefing and Patricia gets her staff. "I'm sorry, Ambassador," a human doctor said with just a touch of annoyance. "The tissue implants can't grow any faster." "Oh, don't give me that," John said impatiently. "What about accelerators?" "We aren't at war, sir," the doctor said with a heavy sigh. "Tissue accelerators aren't part of civilian healthcare. They are simply too hazardous. We use them all the time without any problems. Yeah, and a lot of you will have to have cancer treated in a couple of years. I don't want to put in all of this effort only to have to cut it out later, along with parts of your spinal column." "I'm willing to take the risk," John replied. "It is essential that I get back to my post ASAP. Well, I'm not willing to risk your health and my license to perform an illegal procedure. Sorry, not happening." "Exactly how long am I going to be laying here on my ass?" John growled. "We will perform some tests first thing next week. We will have a better idea then." "Fuck!" John exclaimed, clenching his fists. "You have no idea how important it is that I—" "You are right," the doctor snapped. "I don't know, and to be perfectly honest, I don't fucking care. It is what it is. The tissue has to grow and properly integrate with the rest of your body, and that's just going to take some time." "Well, how about just releasing me then?" John asked. "The procedures have already been done. I can lay up back at the embassy." "I won't authorize it," the doctor replied. "Maybe when you try to go over my head, you can get someone to do it, but as long as I'm your doctor, you are staying put. Now, unless you have some other concern, I have other patients to attend to." "Fine." With that, the doctor walked out, closing the door after him. John immediately pulled out his tablet and started typing an email. Goddamn right he was going over that doctor's head. As he was typing, the door to his room opened and Helen Mongrave walked in. "Funny, I kinda thought you were bulletproof." She smiled as she closed and locked the door. "Bullets, yes. Fucking Gauss anti-tank rifles, not so much," he said, displaying his new arm. "Nice," Helen said as she walked over and examined it. "Any special upgrades?" "If there are, I'm keeping that to myself." "Don't want to ruin the surprise," John said with a smile. "Glad you could make it." "What? Nothing wrong with paying an old friend a visit in the hospital," Helen smiled. "And that is exactly all this is. Just me dropping by to wish you well." "So how bad is it?" "Worse than you think," Helen replied as she pulled out a scanner and started sweeping the room. After a few moments, she put the scanner back into her purse. "No bugs, at least as far as I can tell." She moved in very close and spoke in a very quiet voice. "I'm risking my career helping you, maybe even more than that," she said as she pulled out a data crystal. "Everything I got is on there." "That bad?" "Worse," Helen whispered. "You know she has people in intelligence. They've been there since the beginning." "Fuck. They've been there since before the beginning. The whole department has been compromised from nearly the top down. Not just intelligence either. Her people are well placed in just about every single department and branch of the Republic. And that's before the latest developments." "Shit," John said quietly. "I knew it was bad, but that bad? Fuck." "Wait, what do you mean the latest developments?" "Notice how well preserved she looks." "Yeah, she has to be about half plastic by now." "Nope. I managed to get my hands on a bioscan. It's on the crystal with everything else. Don't ask me how I got it. I handed it to an expert without including the name. And he said that she was a perfectly healthy 25-year-old. "What?" "Yep. Her biological age is 25. I double-checked with another expert and they said 28, but you get the idea." "How?" "Don't know. It's no secret that she has always heavily invested in biotech with a real interest in enhancements, both legal and illegal. My only guess is that she has a secret research lab somewhere. There isn't a peep concerning any anti-aging tech anywhere, and trust me, I looked." "Shit." "Yeah, I did all the work up and covert shit solo, just like the good old days, so nobody else knows this. It's not just her. Her senior staff and favorite thugs are also looking a lot younger these days." She leaned in so that her mouth was inches from his ear. "I have also uncovered information that strongly implies that she is offering spa days to the rich and powerful, including a lot of high-ranking officials. She has the fucking fountain of motherfucking youth. Who wouldn't be tempted?" "Holy shit," John whispered. "I also know that she has been making contact with the Porkies. A couple of them even dropped by the embassy in your absence. Does the name Lydia Salvatore mean anything to you?" "No." "Should it?" "She is quite the piece of work. She was a high-ranking member of the Chosen back in the day, part of their Inquisition, no less. She is directly responsible for the deaths of thousands during their reign of terror in Europe. Rumor has it that she has quite the hoard of pre-Yellowstone military hardware, including fully functional grav tanks. We are also fairly sure that the Chosen have remained cohesive and quietly active in the Federation, and that she is now their leader. Motherfucker, John said quietly. And guess what? Helen whispered in his ear. She was looking pretty damn good for an ancient old hag. So she is using this, whatever, to get her hooks into the porkies as well then. Fucking perfect. Here's some more good news for you. As you already know, she has arranged to have a support staff there in your embassy. It won't surprise you that they are all fucking monsters. About what I figured. All of them are from her original forces, never mind how young they look. All of them are fucking killers, but there are two of them in particular you need to know about. Stephen Marrow and Margaret Crimson. Their names are fake. Nobody except Patricia herself knows what their real names are. Back in the day, they just went by what are now their surnames. Marrow was the youngest fighter to ever join her ranks. He was less than 10 when he first picked up a rifle in her name, and by the age of 15 he was a full-fledged bloodlord. If she has a right hand, it would be him. He's a fucking monster. Crimson is about as bad. She was a former raider in a gang that Patricia took out. Her last stand was so epic that it impressed Patricia herself, and she was offered a position in her ranks. She is pure evil and another of whose bloodlords. The others are bad, but those two, they are among the worst that humanity has ever produced, and physically are the two deadliest people she has, period. Everything I know is on that crystal, and it's some pretty grim reading. Sounds like some people need to catch a bullet or two. It's been tried multiple times, Helen whispered. I know you and your people are the best of the best, but whose team? Shit. They are unnatural. Inhuman. Don't underestimate them, John. They are dangerous. So am I, Helen, but don't worry. I'm not going to play their game and get into a sword fight with them, or a gunfight if I can help it. Unless I got a clean shot, that is. John whispered with a grim smile. John, I have a really bad feeling about this, Helen whispered. I don't spook easily, but I'm fucking scared. Whatever she has planned. We'll fail, John said, holding Helen's hand. She is going to have to go through me. She already put herself on my shit list for fucking with one of my people, and now it seems that she is fucking with my republic, John said with fire in his eyes. That bitch is going down. If you are going to go up against her, then I have your back, Helen said quietly. You don't have to do this, Helen, John said quietly. You've risked enough, more than enough already. This is likely going to get pretty nasty, like people are going to die nasty. I know, probably better than you do, Helen whispered. But you're right. It's the Republic we're talking about here. All the people I sent to die in its name and for its sake. If it's my turn to join them, so be it. So fucking be it, she said as she gripped John's hand tight. Okay, John said with a little smile. We need to set up a way to communicate outside normal channels. Remember our old code? Helen asked with a nostalgic smile. Still have the book? Of course, John whispered. Use the same app. Is it still around? Yeah, it is, and still going strong. We go with that then. Just like back in boarding school, Helen snickered. But this time it won't be about booze, weed, and when we will be sneaking out of the dorms. Yeah, and this time we don't want to get fucked, she said as she leaned forward and kissed his cheek. Marrow and Crimson stood before their assembled team in the cargo bay. We will soon be landing, Marrow announced. Remember what we are supposed to appear to be. You have all been chosen for not only your skill at arms, but also your professionalism and discretion. Any mistakes will not be tolerated. Marrow and Crimson walked down the line, inspecting the suits and dresses worn by the 24 men and women standing before them. Marrow paused in front of each one, occasionally making adjustments or small comments concerning their attire. He was pleased, quite pleased. Each and every one of them looked the part. He returned to his position in front of all of them. Unfortunately, most of you will not be able to wear swords, axes, and the like. You are allowed sidearms and knives, nothing more. Don't worry. Your real weapons will be safely stored until the time they are needed, and they will be needed. You are expected to maintain your training, but you will do so only in your chambers, nowhere else. You are to look like domestic staff or administrative support, nothing more. He paused and took care to look each of them in the eyes. There may be issues with the current staff. Do not engage them. Swallow your pride and acquiesce. You will not be judged for this or viewed as weak. It is what this situation demands. Also, a number of the staff are former Terran Marine raiders. Do not underestimate them. Many of them have years of actual combat under their belts and can be dangerous. In particular, be careful of the ambassador and his assistant. Yes, his assistant is a fucking beetroot, but that tuber has no small number of kills to his credit. Be very careful of his eye. It isn't a mere prosthetic. It has been greatly enhanced. He paused for effect and then continued. I know not what her ladyship has planned for us, but she called for us. I think you all know what that means. He smiled at the wicked chuckling that issued forth from the group. Yes, brothers and sisters, she called for her riders. When the time comes, I expect nothing less than the days of old from each and every one of you. The group stomped upon the deck plates and raised their blades as they howled. Oh, goosebumps, Crimson said happily. Everybody, load up, Marrow shouted. The group started loading crates and baggage into 2 gleaming black pre-Yellowstone armored personnel grav carriers, each one emblazoned with a large red phoenix on a white background on each side. Old war banners bearing the same symbol were mounted on the top of each one. Once they finished loading the APCs, the team got inside and closed the hatches. Marrow walked over to the passenger side of a sleek grav limo bearing diplomatic markings, as well as 2 small white flags, each with a red phoenix on the hood, and opened the door for Crimson. She smiled at him, her blue eyes twinkling as she got inside. He entered the driver's side and got behind the wheel. A few minutes later, Marrow was informed that they had landed and were cleared for departure. He activated a microphone. We are rolling out. Follow me. The cargo bay hatch opened and they pulled out into the city. The route that Marrow selected just happened to include a slight detour that sent them straight through the middle of the human neighborhoods. Gasps of horror issued from the humans on the street as the convoy rolled past. Some people cursed. Some wept. Others just ran. Look at the cattle, Marrow, Crimson said happily as they drove past. Nice to see that they remember us. Indeed, Marrow said with a smile. I guess we left quite the impress. He was cut off by blaster fire. A bolt hit the shields right in front of the driver's side window. It was followed by another and another as an old man stepped forward holding a pistol and firing shot after shot. Hold your fire, Marrow said calmly over the microphone. Bloodlord, he's firing at us. We can't let this stand. Never use that title here, Marrow snapped. And yes, we can. Let him shoot that little pop gun. It won't even scratch the paint. Let him fire. Let him stand helpless as we drive past. Marrow smiled as the shields flashed briefly again and again. Seriously, Crimson said quietly after the mic cut off. I wasn't going Zap to take issue with you, Zap, in front of the men, Zap, but seriously? Seriously, Zap. What looks better, Zap? Jumping out and brutally slaughtering the Zap old fool, or just letting him look like an idiot and then Zap him just disappearing, Zap, sometime in the next few days, Zap. Besides, I would like to perform the sacrament and we just found our sacrifice, Zap. That would be nice, Zap. Oh, look, the police finally stopped him, Crimson said with a smile. Finally. So how will we know where to find him? Please, after that little stunt he just pulled. All we have to do is watch the news. You have a point, Crimson laughed. Did we pack the good china? Toby looked on with disapproval as the convoy entered the embassy's garage. He left the security office and rushed to confront them. Who is in charge here? Toby barked as they were exiting the APCs. I am, Marrow said as he stepped forward, extending his hand. Stephen Marrow, a pleasure to meet you. Toby just glared at him. Fucking APCs? Really? Oh, so they are, Marrow said with an embarrassed laugh. Sorry, we've been using them as trucks for so long I tend to forget their original purpose. Please tell me that they aren't armed. Not sure, Marrow laughed. Hey, did you remember to disarm the trucks? Yes, sir. We took the guns off before we left, one of the men replied. Yes, they are disarmed. Thank goodness someone had more presence of mind than I did, Marrow laughed. It isn't fucking funny, Toby snapped. This is an embassy, not an armed encampment. And without their weapons, those are just trucks. You really need to calm down, mister. Jokant, Tobias Jokant, Toby said as he reluctantly shook Marrow's still extended hand. In future, please use the cargo transports that are available. Sir! A human female shouted as she ran towards Toby. Yes, Susan. Sir, there's been an incident, Susan said as she glared at Marrow and handed Toby a tablet. Toby leveled all of his eyes at Marrow. You decided to take a little tour of the city, it seems, he growled. Yes, I guess I got a little lost on the way here, Marrow chuckled. At least you didn't return fire, Toby snarled. Please, Marrow laughed. Some old fool with a toy pistol? Her ladyship's new limo is quite well protected, and there was no way those bolts would even scratch the paint of our trucks. Thank God he didn't go for the banners. Now that would have been unfortunate. They are antiques. Well, if you will excuse me, Mr. Jokant, I need to oversee unpacking and report to her ladyship. And I need to go and clean up the mess you made on the way over. Toby growled and then turned his back on Marrow and walked off. So that's the beetroot, huh? Crimson asked. Doesn't look like much. Looks can be deceiving, Marrow said as he watched him depart. He's going to be trouble. Count on it. Dawn was sitting at her desk reading emails when Marrow and Crimson approached. Her eyes widened as they approached, and she jumped up so fast she knocked over her chair. I'm Mr. Marrow, Miss Crimson. It's an honor to meet you, she exclaimed. Marrow smiled indulgently, and Crimson smirked. Hello, Marrow said in a pleasant voice. Please let her ladyship know that we seek an audience with her. Excellent. A silky voice emanated from the intercom on Dawn's desk. Please do come in. Dawn scrambled to open the door for them, knocking over her pencil holder in the process. Marrow laughed in a friendly, pleasant manner that made Dawn happy. Oops, I'm such a klutz, she giggled as she opened the door. Marrow, despite himself, tousled her hair and smiled at her as he passed by. She just giggled and shut the door behind them. Marrow and Crimson strode forward in sync, and both knelt in front of Patricia Hu's desk. Please rise, Patricia said as she got up and walked gracefully around her desk to greet them. Such formality is unnecessary for either of you, my dear friends. When they rose, she embraced them both. It is so good to see both of you, she exclaimed. She turned to Marrow. And how is your sister? An ungrateful bitch as always, Marrow chuckled. Ah, just like her mother, Patricia laughed. What is it this time? She is upset over the gift I gave little Karina. She said that she didn't want her great-great-granddaughter's family having to explain where 4 horses came from. 4? Patricia asked with a laugh. That is a bit generous even for you. Karina loves horses and was a good year. I have too many foals and needed to make room anyhow, he laughed. It wasn't just the horses. It was also the pasture and the stable and the bioengineers to make the pasture, he said with a chuckle. I give them all of that, and the only thing she can say is, how are they going to explain that? And how are they going to feed them? As if I wasn't going to provide feed. I swear she is just like our mother was. After all this time she is still trying to hide the source of her good fortune, Patricia asked with a beautiful laugh. Yes, still, after all of these years, she still tries to hide it. Pretend that she didn't dine at your table. You spared her very life, and all she can do is curse your name just like Mother did. Oh, my dear boy, Patricia said as she smiled, beaming with pride. I didn't spare her life. You saved it with your wonderful resolve. Cursing me is all well and good, but the lack of gratitude that she shows you, unforgivable. Yeah, and she had no problem eating the food you sent to them, even the meat, Crimson said with a wicked smile. I might have mentioned that in our little chat, Marrow laughed. Needless to say, it didn't go well. She really doesn't like to be reminded of that particular detail. You were far too forgiving of her mother, my lady, Crimson said politely. I never understood that. Well, my dear Crimson, Patricia said in a melodious voice. She wasn't my problem to deal with, was she? She asked, and then looked over at Marrow and smiled. It was Marrow's family, and he dealt with it. In a most pleasing fashion, I might add. Patricia placed her hand on Marrow's shoulder. It was how he dealt with her that really let me know not only the strength of his resolve but also his wisdom, that he was fit to lead and not just follow. Yeah, that was a little messed up, dude, Crimson laughed. I spared her life and there was no debilitating injury, not physically. Marrow smiled. They all laughed. So, my lady, Marrow said with a smile, to what do we owe the honor of being summoned into your presence? Take a seat, my favorite children, Patricia said as she glided back to her chair. We have much to discuss.